talk about the game though. I think it was an amazing game. A lot of the game was really well done. I think there's a few things that could have been improved. I think the storyline could have had a little bit more juice to it. It wasn't an awful storyline. We basically know what motivates the character and why they're doing what they're doing. They want closure for their mother. And the other characters were actually really well done. They made me feel emotions. I fucking hated Wait. I absolutely hated Wait. I loved Samuels. Samuels took me on quite the adventure. And I feel like there was a lot of character development for Samuels, especially considering he's a synthetic. Like, that was a surprise to me. And how he dies, sacrificing himself and doing something altruistic, that was pretty incredible for a synthetic as well. And I feel like his character was really well done. When you first get on, you meet Axel, and how Axel just has this crazy vibe to him, how he's like, don't trust anyone, and he's super paranoid. He's such a good character as well, and he's like complaining about these things about other people, but you at first you're like, well, maybe Axel's just a fucking crazy one, but then you like play through the game, and as things progress you see that Axel's not the crazy one. Axel's normal and he's literally just trying to survive on this, and the other people are actually fucking crazy. They're like shoot on sight, where Axel didn't shoot on sight. He followed you and he made sure that it was safe to talk to you. His character was really well done, I think. Another thing that I would like to talk about, the atmosphere of the game was really well done. How it felt like you're in a spaceship, how there's like always creaking, how the blinds open and they shut during times. When you look outside, sometimes you can see the sun and you see the planet, and it just creates this really good atmosphere. And even when you're outside in space, how there's just a lot of nothingness to create this emptiness that was kind of felt throughout the game. The ambient noise is really good in the game as well, and even the music itself is really well done. When it's an intense moment, the music gets really intense, and it like feels super fitting. When it's a scary moment, it feels super fitting too. And when the alien's close to you, it has this really suspenseful music. In the moment, you don't know, like, sometimes you don't know what's going to happen when you're hiding under a bed or something. Is the alien going to look underneath? You see it standing right there, and it has this really suspenseful moment. And the atmosphere just adds to all of it about how it was really well done. The atmosphere was really well done. And talking about the enemies, I loved every enemy except for the fucking face huggers. I hate the face huggers. The humans were okay too. I feel like they had really good accuracy and they could spot you really easy. Same with the androids. I feel like the androids could spot you a lot easier than the alien could, but they felt easy to get around. Same with the humans. What I liked is how the alien adapted. That was pretty fucking sick. The first time I played, the alien didn't really get the opportunity to adapt because I had I used everything, and I didn't want the alien to adapt, so I was constantly changing what I was using. But with this playthrough, I only used medkits and Molotovs and the maintenance shack. And I called it the M challenge because, you know, they all start with M, and I thought I was funny. But the alien quickly adapted. It stood still longer so that I wasn't able to move around as much, and it like stared in certain areas and examined them, which was absolutely terrifying because anytime he was staring in my direction, I didn't know if he was going to find me. He creeped around a lot less. Instead of creeping, he would walk super quickly. So it means he would walk around corners and he would find me quicker. And just the way he adapted, it was pretty incredible. I feel like the skill progression in this game was very fair. It gives you several different ways to progress. You can progress by you get more tools and you can use these tools, or you can get better at the game. And I really like that about the game because it never really limits. It doesn't limit you to things. It doesn't force you to use things, and it doesn't force you to grind, which is really nice about the game. Briefly mentioned controls earlier, but I want to talk about controls again. I feel like the controls were pretty good. The only thing that I didn't like about the controls was the crafting system. It felt a little strange. It felt a little odd. The graphics of this game were actually they were good. They were kind of minimal, but how can you expect too much from space? It's not gonna. There's not mountains to paint. There's no trees. Like, the graphic opportunity of having something in space is already limited. So I feel like they did it really well, and they added a lot of detail to the game too. Like, you walk around and there's advertisements everywhere, and they're unique advertisements. Some of them are cigarette advertisements, some of them are alcohol advertisements, some of them are like about having safe sex. There's a lot of advertisements, which is super sweet. But they do raise questions like, where do you smoke on the spaceship? That doesn't sound safe. The learning curve to this game wasn't too steep that it makes it unenjoyable for new players. I feel like it had a good learning curve. This is a game that I would definitely recommend to people to try out, especially people that are afraid of this sort of thing, because this game doesn't rely on cheap jump scares. It relies on building an atmosphere around to scare you. When it does go to jump scares, they're not cheap. They're built up. Sometimes you don't see them coming, sometimes you do see them coming. There's not a lot of them too. I personally would recommend this game to the people that are scared of the game, because the feeling of triumphing over this game is like a really good feeling. And overall, I give this game a 94% in my books. The strengths of this game, I would say, is the enemy difficulty, about how the alien is constantly adapting to what you're doing, and about how it's learning. I think that's a really sick thing. The atmosphere as well is the strength of the game. Things that weren't well done, in my opinion, is the storyline. The storyline kind of left me wanting more, especially with how it ended. I feel like the ending could have been something else. I'm not sure what. But I'm also happy at the same time that they're not just giving people what they want and just giving them like the hero ending that you get in most video games. Happily ever after. Happily ever afters are kind of lame. I also think a weakness of the game is the face huggers. It doesn't feel like they put a lot of design or thought into the game, or into the face huggers, which makes me a little sad, because you have this really well thought out alien, and then you have this scene trigger where as soon as you reach a certain point, this homing missile is going to home in on you and it kills you in one hit. If they were going to keep that design, maybe just change where they put them and put them in a place where the alien is as well. They have a few of those, like when you're in the reactor core and you're forced to kill them, which makes a sound and makes the alien come over. That I feel like is a good use of the face huggers for how they're designed, but just having them like as their own enemy, I don't like that. Just with how they're designed. I think that's all I have to say about the game for this time. Maybe this will change in the future, who knows?